Intro: Calling the Unqualified. Abraham, the father of faith. Isaac, the man of obedience. Up to this point, the atmosphere of the family tree has been quite holy and respectable. But by the third generation, things get complicated. Meet the man who exploited his brother's hunger to buy a birthright for a bowl of stew, and who deceived his blind father to steal a blessing. His name is Jacob. Based on his character alone, he seems completely unqualified for God's choosing. Yet, surprisingly, half of the entire book of Genesis chapters 27-50 is dedicated to the story of Jacob and his sons. Why on earth did God choose a man like Jacob? Today's story is about the God of reversals who turns a messy life into a masterpiece. Part 1. Jacob the Fugitive and Bethel, a God who seeks. Fleeing from his brother Esau's murderous rage, Jacob hits the road empty-handed. On his first night alone, at his loneliest and most terrified moment, God visits him in a dream. Instead of scolding the trickster, God gives him a breathtaking promise. I am with you, and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. Genesis 28:15. In other words, I will never give up on you. Waking up, Jacob confesses, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it, and he names the places Bethel, house of God. After this, Jacob spends 20 grueling years as a laborer at his uncle Laban's house. The deceiver gets a taste of his own medicine as he is cheated by an even craftier uncle. This was his season of training. Part 2. Wrestling at the Jabbok River, the birth of Israel. 20 years later, now a wealthy man returning home, Jacob faces his greatest crisis. He hears that Esau is coming to meet him with 400 men. Left alone by the Jabbok River, Jacob wrestles with a mysterious figure until daybreak. I will not let you go unless you bless me. The stubbornness Jacob once used to take things from others has now turned into a desperate prayer, clinging to God for his very life. The struggle only ends when his hip is put out of joint. Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome. Genesis 32:28. Israel, the one who struggles with God. With his ego completely shattered, Jacob now walks with a limp, but for the first time he stands tall as a man of God. This name later becomes the name of God's people, Israel. Part 3. Joseph the Dreamer, Incomprehensible Suffering. The spotlight of history now shifts to Jacob's 11th son, Joseph. He was a naive boy, the favorite of his father, who dreamed of his brothers bowing down to him. His brother's jealousy eventually leads to tragedy. Joseph is sold into slavery in Egypt. Despite working faithfully, he is falsely accused and thrown into prison. From slave to prisoner, he hit rock bottom. 13 long years passed. Where was God? The Bible summarizes this dark period in one powerful sentence. The Lord was with him. He showed him kindness. Genesis 39:21. Even in prison, God was with Joseph. This suffering was God's hidden school, a time of training to prepare Joseph to become the prime minister of a nation. When the time was right, God lifted Joseph from the dungeon to the palace in a single day. Overnight, Joseph becomes the prime minister of Egypt, the world's superpower. With divine wisdom, he prepares for a great famine and saves the world from hunger. Then, 20 years later, he reunites with the brothers who sold him. Standing before the enemies who betrayed him, Joseph doesn't seek revenge. Instead, he weeps and offers this confession, the greatest statement in the book of Genesis. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Genesis 50:20. It wasn't you who did this. It was God. Joseph realized that his suffering was part of God's big picture, his providence to save his family. Conclusion: the legacy of Genesis. Jacob's family of 70 settles in the land of Goshen in Egypt. There, they will be protected and grow into a massive nation. Genesis ends with the death of Joseph, but God has not forgotten his promise to Abraham. Starting with the creation of the world and ending with a single family's move to Egypt, Genesis is a story of hope. God molded the flawed Jacob into Israel and achieved salvation through the suffering Joseph. That same God is molding your life right now. Next time, we'll see how this family grows into a nation of 2 million and escapes Egypt. Join us for the spectacular Exodus Part 1, The Escape and the Miracle of the Red Sea. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and like.